Nick Godejohn was a man that met a woman named Gypsy Rose on a Christian dating website, and after spending time with her, he had fell deeply in love with her. After noticing this, Gypsy decided to use Nick's weakness to her advantage and tried to persuade him to kill her mother. Gypsy had allegedly been abused by her mother from the time that she was a child and wanted to get rid of her. At first, Nick was hesitant but agreed to do it when she told him that it's the only way that they could be together. And on June 9, 2015, Nick Godejohn stabbed Dee Dee Blanchard to death in her own house. The following morning after the murder, Gypsy made multiple home videos with Nick where she sounded elated that her mother was dead.
Hi, honey. I'm feeling it. He's eating a brownie. But later, he will be eating me.
And after being brought in for questioning, Nick admitted to committing the murder and explained his motive to detectives.
I mean, the truth is, okay, I'll admit it. I did actually stab her.
So you wouldn't have done it if somebody else would have asked?
No.
Okay.
There's no way I would have did for anyone else.
Okay, so you just
So I
did.
truly do worship her to the point that there's nothing I want to do for her.
Can you tell me this first?
Okay.
Did Gypsy know that you were going to kill her mother?
Honestly, she asked me to.
Okay. So Gypsy knew you were going to do it because Gypsy asked you to.
Yes.
Why did she ask you to do that?
Because she thought it was her only way to be with me.
Okay. She felt like if you killed the mom, then that's the only way she could be with you.
Yeah.
Do you know the mom's name?
I don't know her real name. All I know is she goes by Dee Dee.
Dee Dee. Okay.
Nick's confession ended up getting him charged with first-degree murder and eventually sentenced to life in prison, while Gypsy was charged with second-degree murder and sentenced to 10 years in prison for her involvement. In Seattle, Washington, a 23-year-old woman named Anise Valencia was sitting outside Urban League Village Apartments with a friend while waiting for another friend to grab her laptop inside the apartment building. Minutes later, a man named Gregory Taylor, who was a resident in the building, walked up to the car brandishing a gun, and in a completely random attack, opened fire on the two women through the windshield, hitting Valencia 3 times and her friend once. In an attempt to save herself and Valencia, her friend called police, and when police arrived, Gregory Taylor's encounter with them turned fatal.
Seattle Fire and Medic 1.
Bro, my friend is dying. We just got shot like 3 times. Please send paramedics right now.
You just got shot 3 times?
3 times.
Where are you at?
Hey, Fire, this is Radio. I've got a rapid SOS location of 2300 South Massachusetts.
I don't have the location. Tell me this.
Yep, that's what I'm looking at. 2300 South Massachusetts.
Come here, please.
Okay, ma'am. I need you to answer my questions. What's going on there?
They're shooting. Come now, please. We just got shot. I'm gonna die. We're gonna die.
How many people have been shot?
2. Please come now. My friend is dying.
He's coming down. Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Put your hands up and drop the gun, Seattle Police! Drop the gun now! Drop the gun! Shots fired. Hey, I got the radio. Suspect down.
Gregory Taylor was shot and killed by police after pointing a gun at them, and unfortunately, Anise Valencia passed away on the way to the hospital. Days after her untimely demise, friends and family held a candlelight vigil at the apartments to honor the life of a young woman that had her life cut short due to a senseless act of violence. In Washington, D.C., 2 elderly men were walking back to the hotel that they were staying at, and this is when a group of teenagers approached them. Witnesses on the scene say that they heard the teens yelling "That's him" before launching a vicious attack on one of the men. The second man was able to run inside and couldn't do anything besides watch as they were outnumbered 12-2. And while it's not clear what the group of teens thought the elderly man did, his friend claims that whoever they were looking for wasn't them. The beating lasted nearly 3 minutes and the man suffered serious brain damage and was left brain dead, which is irreversible, as his head was stomped on multiple times. And while laying unconscious on the floor, one of the teens decided to top off the beating by spitting in his face. All 12 of the teens have been arrested and charged with the attack, but due to them being underage, their identities haven't been released. In 2013, a 58-year-old man named Peter Fasoli connected with a 28-year-old man named Jason Marshall through an online dating website called Badoo. After talking online, Fasoli invited Marshall to his home to hang out and have an enjoyable night, but this would end up being the worst and final night of Fasoli's life, as he had just invited a monster into his home. Fasoli, who had a bondage fetish, was tied up and was tortured and eventually killed by Jason Marshall, who pretended to be a law enforcement agent. Marshall was able to escape the country and evade justice for several years before ultimately being caught in 2017. What Marshall didn't know is that Fasoli had a webcam recording their entire encounter, including the murder, and this was used against him in court, and eventually Marshall was sentenced to life with a minimum of 39 years in prison. An 84-year-old man was walking in the San Francisco Alta Vista neighborhood, and this is when a 19-year-old man named Anthony Watson attacked the senior for no reason by viciously pushing him to the ground before running off. Nearly 20 minutes later, paramedics arrived to the scene to treat the unresponsive man for life-threatening injuries, but unfortunately the man passed away from serious head trauma. Watson was later caught and brought into custody and is currently awaiting trial.